The American democracy witnessed one of its darkest days on Wednesday, the 6th of January 2021, when thousands of Donald Trump supporters marched on the revered US Capitol Hill building before opposing of the police, breaching it, and rushing into the debating chambers. What amounts to one of the most severe security breaches in the American history has been branded as insurrection by several lawmakers and prompted the hurried suspension of tallying of electoral college votes taking place to affirm President-elect Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 US elections held in November. US Vice President Mike Pence, along with the members of Congress, had to be quickly evacuated to an undisclosed location as a safety measure. In a televised address made by several members of the mob were still planted on the Capitol's premises, President-elect Joe Biden condemned the pandemonium, saying, "It's disorder, it's chaos, borders on sedition, and it must end now." Many had flown from different parts of the United States to lend in their support to the President Trump during the rare electoral college vote tallying session taking place on Wednesday. Prior to the US elections and after it, the president had incessantly parroted claims that the election was fraudulent, claims that have been found to be baseless by several US courts in the wake of elections. But the idea of storming a building that has become a global symbol of liberal democratic values still seemed incomprehensible to many. That, however, was to change when President Trump began to speak. Continuing to spew allegations of voter fraud, Trump said, "You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore." He then directed the whole crowd to march on to the Capitol, where he exhorted, "After this, we're going down, and I will be there with you. We are going to walk down to the Capitol." Only an hour after the president had made his speech, the Capitol was being spewed and overwhelmed by protesters, many of whom began scaling the building's wall, breaking windows, overturning tables inside, and ripping photos from its wall. One image showed a protester with his foot planted firmly on the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi's desk. Another starting image showed security officials aiming guns at protesters through a broken window. Others showed subdued protesters face down on the ground as police opened pointed weapons at them. The carnage, which has led to at least 4 deaths, continued until finally reinforcement arrived in the form of National Guard. Hours after the President, Trump released a video calling on his protesters to end the mayhem and return home. "Go home, we love you, you're very special," he said, while continuing to repeat claims of electoral fraud, something that his own vice president as well as Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now refused to back. It was only 4 hours after the violence that the security officials finally declared the Capitol secure. After having called in the National Guard, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser finally announced a citywide curfew that came into effect on 6 p.m. on Wednesday and will continue until 6 a.m. on Thursday. The mayor has now extended a public emergency over 15 days until January 21, the day after President-elect Joe Biden's swearing-in ceremony. The neighboring state of Virginia has also promised to send in Virginia National Guard along with 200 state troops. After a day of unexpected events, the Congress finally certified Joe Biden as the elected President of the United States. Later, the incumbent President Donald Trump has promised orderly transition of power and released video condemning the attack on Capitol Hill. The Democrats and some Republicans, however, aren't happy about the incident and called for the removal of the President Trump even though he has only a couple of weeks left in his office. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi asked the Vice President Mike Pence to invoke 25th Amendment to remove President immediately. If that doesn't happen, Democrats are considering an impeachment to move against Trump. The very next day, Trump tweeted saying that he would not be present at Biden's inauguration. He also thanked his supporters, calling them great patriots. Twitter suspended his account, saying that the tweets can lead to further violence. He was also suspended from Instagram and Facebook after the attack on Capitol Hill. Now everybody is hoping that the presidential inauguration on January 20th will not witness any untoward incident. For further updates, please visit indianfolk.com. Thank you.